Driving the culture forward. This is Ben Rosen with HYPEBEAST Radio. We're here today with Jake, Arun, and Lawrence from Grailed. How you guys doing?
Hey, dude.
What's up?
Hey.
Shout out HYPEBEAST.
We love HYPEBEAST.
We're all hyped.
Yeah, we're fans of Grailed too, man. It's good to have you guys on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, man. We wanted to start off kind of like with a basic question, just kind of ask how did you guys all meet?
Well, I've known Jake for almost like 10 years from the menswear blogosphere. I remember we met at a party at Nepenthes. I feel like it had just opened up too. Yeah. And you like ran up on me on some clout shit. This was before clout was clout. You know what I'm saying?
Before it was a thing.
This is OG clout, Lawrence.
Yeah, very OG clout. Exactly. And we just both were on Tumblr. And then you guys, you can tell your whole origin story.
Yeah, I met Arun. Basically, just emailed him about Grailed. Found it through Style Forum, I think.
Cold email?
Cold emailed that motherfucker.
Bold.
And
Bold strategy.
he responded, and I was working on a different startup at the time in California where he was, and we met up and kind of started talking about Grailed stuff and went from there.
Yeah, much different than all the cold emails I get. Jake's actually had punctuation.
That's actually for the kids. Like, punctuate your shit.
Lesson for the kids.
And then I guess I just met Arun when I started consulting before I worked here full time.
Lawrence
So
was
I just
advising
kinda,
us.
like, in New York.
Getting some info from Lawrence on the press side and
Word.
yeah.
So they kind of brought you on as like a mercenary, kind of like.
Well, it's funny. The actual thing is, so Jake, having known me, once he linked up with Arun and he was helping out, they were looking to get press for Grailed because I guess at that point no one really knew about Grailed. There's not the wider kind of like menswear world. So he like pitched it to me when I was at Complex and doing 4-pins, and I was like, hard pass, dude. What the fuck is this?
Yeah, he was
shit?
not into it.
So
at
what
all.
he just did is he just went behind my back and had Gian De Leon, our homie, who's now at Highsnobiety. I don't know if we can say the high snob on HYPEBEAST. I know it's like the Capulets and the Montagues out here, but and so they just went around my back, and then actually that was like the first huge press piece. I guess it was like a profile.
That was the one that kind of like got us to the first
And there was
exposure,
that amazing photo of the like nerdy dude in his mom's basement with like
Googly eyes.
Oh yeah, they use that like when you just Google like internet troll. It's like the
and everyone thought that was Arun.
They're like, wow, the founder is such a herb.
So I guess that's kind of like the origin story for the most part.
Wow. And so you came on and you started helping out with branding, and what's your role right now?
I'm the brand director now, but when I was still working at Complex and 4-pins and just kind of giving general guidance about, I don't know, anything that they needed, like just coming after work and hanging out. Obviously, at that point being friends with the dudes that worked there.
Lawrence came up with the idea for the first Grail 100.
Yeah, and just shit like that, just like some general press strategy stuff, just like really super general consulting, just anything that was kind of on the table at the time, and that obviously eventually turned into a full-time role. Because at that point, then I was like, oh, I passed on it, but now I see the merits of this thing.
Right. Then you
I saw the vision. Then I fucked with the vision, and we linked and we built, and then here we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so speaking of the Grail 100, that was a massive success, and you guys have since gone on to kind of like roll out these other designer collaborations.
Yeah,
how would you guys put them? Like
sales,
fire sales and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, they're literal fire
They are
sales.
fire.
Yeah, I mean, the original plan was to do like a smaller thing, which we obviously decided to just like blow the doors off it and make it like this huge 100 thing, and it just like
The
sounds.
Grail 10 doesn't sound as good.
Yeah, exactly. The Grail 12 sounds like ass. So yeah, we've done 2 of those. In November of the past 2 years. Obviously, you're going to have a third one coming up. I don't want to say a date, but should we say a month publicly? Fuck no. So that is going to happen sometime in the fall.
TBD.
Fingers crossed, TBD. I mean, it's just kind of the natural extension where it's just like content that is shoppable, that kind of functions on like a high level. And the way we kind of talk about those projects, and really kind of specifically the 100, is like, what is that utopian amazing version of Grailed? It's like education, it's amazing deals on fire pieces, and it's all together in kind of like this beautiful aspirational and inspirational place that is just available to anyone. You don't need to be like a celebrity to get it, or you don't need to be a VIP client. That's just a thing that goes live to feasibly, right, the entire world. And I think it's like a democratization of kind of like, again, this perfect version of Grailed that, again, in a utopian society would exist, but it's not like that all the time, but we try.
Damn, bro. You work in marketing?
Yeah!
And so you guys have rolled
Democratization of the perfect world.
the utopia. The utopia of Grailed.
Yikes.
Yeah. Fire.
HYPEBEAST comment section gonna love that one.
God, yeah, for real.
though.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, like, Arun. So when did the idea first start to do like Grailed? Like, were you doing any ventures before that?
So Grailed is actually my second company, or third and fourth, depending on what you call a company. But
Like when you had like 3 lemonade stands?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Hey man, I'm an entrepreneur from way back. So I was actually in college, and I was getting more into menswear and like more into designer stuff, because like when I was a freshman, I like lived above a J. Crew in my dorm. So I was like, got slowly more into fashion and like buying like Acne and APC and like, Lanvin and stuff like that. And obviously I couldn't afford any of it because I was in college. But I was on the Style Forum, and I was on Superfuture, and I was on fuk.co.uk. And I was buying and selling stuff there. And I remember the thing that infuriated me to no end is on Style Forum, you go from the feed to like a big photo of the item. It took you like 3 clicks and like at minimum like 60 seconds for like this thing to load. And I was like, this is just garbage. Like, how can anybody like have the patience to click through this stuff? But I did it anyway because I'm a John head. I'm obsessed. We all are. But I was like,
First
hey,
step is admitting the problem. Hi, I'm
It's
Arun,
definitely a
and
problem.
I'm a John head.
But I was like, hey, I could just make a feed of photos. I just make a website that's literally just a list of photos, and then you don't have to do any clicks. As soon as you load the site, the big photo is already there. And I didn't actually know how to make websites at the time, but I figured that I could like figure it out. So after I graduated college, I spent like 3 months working on it, and I put together Grailed.
Cool. Yeah. So how long, like how far along were you in before you started like hiring and before like Jake came on board and stuff?
Man, a while. I worked on Grailed probably for 8 months or 9 months before Jake emailed me. And then I was like, man, this guy actually knows what he's talking about when it comes to fashion, which was really cool. But he was in New York and I was in San Francisco. We met up a few times. And then about 6 months later, we had continually like hang out. We were introduced to our other co-founder, Julian, who is our CTO, who was working at Venmo and then left to come work with us. And he was also in New York. So at that point, Jake was in New York, Julian was in New York. Jake was leaving his old job. I'm actually from Long Island, and my parents and my brother and sister live here. So it was kind of a natural progression to move back here and get Jake and Julian on board. And it was
Jake also, what did you say? Like, you can't have a fashion company in San Francisco. Like,
Yeah, it's harder. I mean, it's just like,
they don't give a fuck. Let's be real. Like, there's tech out there and interesting stuff, but like those dudes have like the worst style on the planet.
Yeah,
like
it's
notorious
fucking
garbage. Yeah, so.
Silicon
they're
Valley
learning.
Yeah, okay.
Slowly.
I mean, yeah, they can learn if they fucking shop on Grailed. You hear that, Zuckerberg? Hear that, boy? Yeah. Anyway, so now we're in New York. I think I would say that we like consider ourselves a New York company. Like,
100%. 100% we're a New York
part of the
company.
DNA of the
Yeah,
company.
exactly.
We like being a part of New York.
Yeah,
we
for
like
sure.
being in Soho.
We choose to be here.
Yeah, and
It's expensive as hell, but
Yeah,
we
it's
choose to
super
be
expensive.
here.
It's also interesting because I think that you guys are like a pretty this is a niche within the startup community as being like a fashion startup. Was that like an issue when you were communicating to people what you were doing at the beginning?
I wouldn't say it was an issue. You know what? Actually, I take that back. It was definitely an issue.
like,
in San Francisco, it was 100% an issue. They're like, do dudes even buy clothes? And I was like, yeah, man. Everybody's got to buy clothes.
the
You have
investor-
to
the
wear
investor
clothes.
What do you
Community
mean
in
the
San
dudes buy
Francisco
clothes? Of course they do.
Yeah.
But I think that, and I think Jake can speak more to this, is like, we don't really think of ourselves as a technology company.
Yeah, I think that, we are not really a technology company. We're not really a fashion company. We sit kind of like in the middle, and I think that that's where we're very comfortable. Being a community-based company, being a company that has a point of view and has a taste level
Has a
and
brand.
has a brand, and so we're not like a corporation like eBay, and we're not like a fashion brand or like a designer. But I think we are very comfortable in the middle of it.
Yeah, I think Grailed has been successful because like we found a lane, and we've not that as a company you shouldn't be willing to try new things and like pivot or whatever the buzzword you want to use, but like we know what we are inherently, and we're not trying to be anything that we're not. Like, we're not a fashion company posing as a tech company. We're not a tech company posing as a fashion company. That's something that you can see right through immediately, especially in an industry like fashion where like a lot of people try to like fake their way to the top. I think for us, like, we stay true to like what that DNA is, and it's some mixture from both worlds, and that's what we've just kind of continued to do. Just what makes sense for us,
Yeah, I mean, authenticity is huge, and I think
Absolutely.
that we fast learned that they understand that, and they'll call you
that.
out if you're not that, and so you gotta stick to what you believe in.
Yeah, I mean, you guys actually have a comment section that compares to ours in terms of savagery.
which is a dubious distinction at best.
I mean, you just got a lot of educated people out there
Yeah.
who want to speak their minds. And
Here's the thing,
Passion.
right?
It speaks to the passion, right?
Yeah.
People care about this
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Grailed is for enthusiasts and it's by enthusiasts. So, like, if you're enthusiastic about something, you truly care. So I would expect that kind of thoughtfulness on a good day or that kind of terribleness on a bad day is going to come through. Regardless, you know,
they're our harshest critics.
Of course.
But they're also our biggest, champions. So it's
exactly. So we just want to make the best product as possible so that like these kids are hyped up as opposed to like being pissed off, I guess. Whatever the other side of the coin is. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So let's talk about like, you know, the everyday buyer of Grailed at this point in time, because like, you know, a lot of these kids now, like they're really getting into like, you know, vintage and archival pieces for a lot of like fashion labels and stuff like that. So like early on, like when you guys are, you know, pitching the idea of Grailed and people are probably like associating it with eBay, like, hey, there's another marketplace like this, like, you know, like how talk about like getting through that point where it's just like, no, it's different. There is this demographic of kids that
Arun, what was the first thing ever sold on Grailed? I think that kind of can sum up like where it kind of started.
The quaddy bleachers.
Yeah, there you go. Moccasins from J. Crew.
Yeah,
literally.
Right? Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the thing with eBay, it's like, you know, oh, Grailed, like, is it better than eBay? Is it going to be different than eBay? It's like, yo, do you use eBay? Have you ever sold anything on eBay? I feel like everybody I know on eBay either sells like 0 things or sells like 1,000 things. Mm-hmm. And then like, I'm not going to go sell on eBay. It seems like super daunting. But like on Grailed, we have hella people who sell like 1, 2, or 3 things, which is really nice if you're just trying to like afford enough money to like buy your like Saint Laurent coat or whatever.
I also think like our audience, like, all right, so when you're on Grailed, and like we're on Grailed all day, obviously, because we get paid to be, and but like you can kind of see the trends happen in real time. So I think the birth of this kind of like archival trend and vintage, whatever you want to call it, like obviously like kind of like almost like Grailed kind of grew with that trend, and I think, and then also on the flip side, I think Grailed or the trend grew with Grailed. So again, it's like a chicken or an egg thing, but if there's going to be another trend in 6 months, whatever that is, like I don't know what it's going to be necessarily. I think you're going to see our marketplace reflect that, and you're going to see the buyers and sellers reflect that as well. I mean, it's like, to me, it's like a supply and demand thing. So whereas Grailed obviously started when like quote #Mensa was more of a thing, and people are trying to get quaddies for $80 versus now where someone wants like a Raf sweater that was made before they were born. Like obviously that's like a difference in trends, but again, it's like you see kind of like as the trends ebb and flow, I think Grailed in that main feed does as well.
No, totally. It's a barometer. Yeah.
I think that's our favorite thing about Grailed is that we're not beholden to any one thing, you know? Like if we had to sell quaddies, like the website would look a lot different than it does now, where we can just evolve.
Yeah, I mean, look at our website like any Thursday, right? Like there's clearly a market for Supreme, so like you're going to see that. You know, it's just kind of like Jake said, it's a barometer.
But you also kind of democratize it by rolling out like Grailed Basic as well, where it was like, hey, like...
Which is now core.
It's core.
Yeah,
TM.
core.
Yeah. Yes. We don't want to disparage anyone here.
Yeah. We never thought Basics was disparaging.
No, but you know, just
there were some who said...
It became problematic over time.
But like, Jake, maybe you can talk about like, where did Hype even... Because there was never... It was just one feed, right?
Well, I mean, that speaks to kind of our audience, right? I think Hype was born from the fact that our core audience at the time... You know, they didn't want to see the feed be dominated by Supreme and like, you know,
or Jordans or
Yeezys.
or whatever drop was happening, the Ballman H&M stuff. You know, it just became too much for them to see that next to the CCP and the Calm and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, Hype kind of was born out of necessity, and then it became its own kind of separate environment, which catered to a kind of a different demographic, which is kind of like, you know. Yeah. Really helped us diversify.
Yeah, each feed is almost like an ecosystem that then makes up this greater kind of thing.
There's a lot of people who love the core section and are in there every day. And
the best deals, literally, the secret to Grailed is all the best shit is in, like the best, cheapest shit is in core.
Yeah, 100.
Like Prada track pants, like Prada Sport track pants from like 20 years ago, like that everyone want, like that shit's in core for like $35.
If you want a pair of J. Crew shorts, they're in core for $20.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, you can literally find anything in there.
The deals in there are so dumb, it's absurd.
Right.
But again, it's like I think that's also like, you know, Arun always talks about when Grailed first started, the way the way the few people that use Grailed would use it is like you scroll through the feed and then you get to the bottom. And then the next day,
you see everything.
Yeah, exactly. You see everything. The next day, you're doing the same thing and you're getting up to the point where what you saw yesterday. Whereas now, obviously, that's like impossible.
There's nowhere to stop.
Yeah. Now you would fucking turn to dust sitting at your computer like trying to do that.
I've done it. Do you get carpal tunnel syndrome?
Yeah,
trying to scroll
exactly.
through all those pages.
But and I don't even know where I was trying to go at this point. I totally lost my train of thought. But anyway, things are different now.
The feeds, there's many feeds.
The feeds, but so that's where you have like the separate ecosystems.
And who knows? Maybe in the future we'll have a fourth feed.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about that early today, but we're not going to talk about that now because you got to keep something close to the vest.
But anyway, as far as like different platforms go, I mean, you guys also launched like dry clean only, so you guys had your own editorial side too. Since
I was consulting Jake, because obviously Jake and I do come from from a blogging place, and then obviously that's something I did professionally for a long time that is like near and dear to my heart, and like we, so much about Grailed, like we talk about community, and it's not just lip service, like we mean it. And I think part of that is like educating kids to give them context, like, okay, so Raph is popping, Rocky wears it, it's named, Raph's name dropped in songs and stuff like that, but like the kids need some real context. Like if you're just discovering this for the first time, like it's great that you found it from like your favorite rapper, that's totally fine, but it's like, okay, let's provide some like concrete context that like then can help explain like what is this historical significance, like why is a guy like Raph so important as a designer, and then why then do the prices reflect that significance. And we can do that through content now, and that's something that like it took us, I would say, a little bit of time to figure out exactly what the community wanted, what we wanted, right, to find that sweet spot. And I think we've kind of found it now, where it's kind of like
in the recent like weeks almost.
Yeah,
I mean, it's always been great.
Yeah, you don't have to lie to me, bro. No, but it's one of those things where it's like I feel like now, with a big staff of freelancers that like have their own specialties and interests that are all different. It's like I feel like we're really hitting our stride with every day putting up like the kind of like the quality stuff that could live on a GQ or a HYPEBEAST or a content platform that's like one of the main things they do. Obviously, it's kind of secondary for us, but we've tried to elevate it where we see DCO sitting side by side with like the feed as something like that's truly that provides real utility to the users. And I think that.
And again, we're like not beholden to like advertisers.
Yeah, you're
or,
never
like,
going to see it.
anything.
You've never seen an ad on Grailed, and you're never going to see an ad on Grailed, and there's going to never be sponsored content. There's no pay for play, nothing like that.
It all comes back to the authenticity.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
just try to be authentic in everything
so
we
I
do.
think for us, like with DCO, it's like we really want to like, again, we have a point of view as a company. Like think about like eBay, kind of faceless. Like it's a huge it's a huge corporation. Whereas Grailed, we're a startup, and we'd love to be a bigger company. Like we obviously don't want to be stagnant in terms of growth, but we have a level of taste here. There's brands that we like.
It's important to us.
Yeah, there's stuff that we don't like, and there's a level of curation that goes into it, and like we can share that directly with people every single day through the content and social media and all that stuff. I mean, this is not like.
I mean, that was the original idea behind the 100 was to share that with people,
Exactly.
and now with Dry Clean Only,
we
want
want
to share it with them
it's like
all
we
the
want
time.
to we want to curate 100 pieces. We want to style them ourselves. We want to art direct it ourselves, and we want to then present it in a package like how we want to see something as consumers ourselves, and that was the plan.
It's funny too to think. Sorry, it's funny too to think about like the genesis of the content platform and how like 2 years ago we didn't even have anything like that, and it was just a marketplace. And I remember Jake coming to me like one day being like, "Yo, we really need to do content on Grail. We need to do shoppable lists. We need to like educate people on like what's going on in the industry." And I was like, "Bro, we're a marketplace. Why would we do content? It makes no sense."
I even pushed back too. I'm like, "Yo, no one reads anymore." I'm like, "Yo, it's Instagram, right? Like no one cares." But I was wrong because kids are consuming this stuff, and it's leading to sales, and it's leading to education. Yeah, and again, it's giving us a platform to have a voice. So again, it's like the community wins. I feel like us as a company are winning. So like I was totally wrong, and I'm like so happy to be proven wrong because this is. I think it's like then it's like another community within the community. It's like another ecosystem.
And it's so fun.
Comment
It's
section.
so fun.
Yeah, it's super fun, right? Like let's be real. Commenting on the internet is dope.
Cool. So building off of like the growth of the company, and you briefly just mentioned like styling. You guys are also now getting into like styling and working with like celebrities as well. What was like the first celebrity that you guys worked with?
I don't know. A lot of it.
Was it Carti?
I mean, I don't know again what like you consider celebrities, but this is the thing I'll say about that in general. It's like anyone that we've worked with, it's come from a real organic place. Like, here's the thing: if someone approached us on some like styling or sourcing or personal shopping shit, like whatever, and it didn't feel like a fit, like we would never do it just to be like, oh, we're in bed with this celebrity. Like for us, it's always come from an organic place. So if it's like Carti coming here and like asking us to style him for a music video, it's because like he trusts our point of view and he trusts our taste. If we're just buying or sourcing for someone, like again, there's a real relationship there. Like if someone's coming to us to get like vintage comb, like, or CDG, they know that like we have an idea of the right kind of pieces because like we've studied this shit. We're again like coming from the enthusiast point of view.
Staff is very knowledgeable.
Yeah, the staff is super knowledgeable. A lot of people here are collectors, that and all these guys are on Grailed. So it's like for us again, like it's when something is a right fit. It's like we're not going out and seeking that stuff out, right? It's not like part of. I hope I can say it's not part of like the revenue stream. Like a lot of the stuff we do like off the arm, more from like a marketing look perspective where like again like it's good to be associated with people then again that we're fans of too. So for me, I think it's about like anyone that you've seen us work with like publicly when all that stuff is like out there on social media, it's because like it's a real like seeing eye to eye thing when it comes to clothing specifically.
Real recognize real.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's almost like treating like, you know, your high profile clients is like also your everyday consumer. Where
No,
you're
exactly. I mean,
well.
that's the thing. Like that, the Grailed experience for like a lot of like the clients, it's like the same that the users get. I mean, for us, it's almost like it's like very seamless to me. Like where I don't even like, again, it's not even like a real part of our business because it's just like
kind of happens.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where it's like just a kind of a natural extension of what we would be doing whether or not we were getting like buzz in that celeb world. We would still be doing the same stuff. So to me, it's kind of just, again, it's that organic, natural thing.
Yeah, isn't it almost like, you know, mind blowing though, just to see like how far fashion has come for like for consumers in general, that like, you know, there is this much larger audience now for like, you know, archival fashion pieces and stuff like that. So it's like, and it's leaking into like the celebrity
For
world
sure.
as well.
It's part of the culture, right? It's like very much like, I mean,
It's amazing.
There was a huge rap song called Rap. That's insane to me. If you had told me that even like 2 years ago, a year ago, I'd be like, no chance. But like, here we are. I mean, it's part of the culture, and that's why.
But fashion is getting so disparate, right? There's not really like a defining trend in fashion right now, right? And the one thing recently is that a backlash to fast fashion, right? And like fashion that is, you know, generic and derivative, and you know, people started looking for the sources for these things, and then also people started wanting pieces that no one else had or were scarcer or rarer
and retain value. So it's like then the investment perspective.
And then
as
you
well,
know,
so.
celebrities are always going to jump onto these things, you know, at some level, on some level,
And they have purchasing
Right.
power. That's the other thing
Right.
too. It's like, you know what for a RAF parka that's $10,000. Like, I mean, obviously that you don't need to be a celebrity to have a lot of money, but like that kind of is going to obviously make sense. That person's going to be able to acquire something like that of that high value.
Yeah, I mean, well then, you know, that brings up a good point. Do you feel like people are now looking back just because they feel like fashion right now isn't something that's like identifiable or something that can relate to them? Or do you see that more so as like something that's like a trophy where it's like, oh, okay, I'm really a fashion enthusiast, so now I'm going to get this rap
There's
jacket
both.
that
It's both. I mean, you
fashion.
can't. It's like impossible to like differentiate. I mean, it's such a case by case thing. Like, there's always going to be like quote unquote posers or people that again have a ton of money, so they're just buying what they feel like they're supposed to buy. And there's going to be kids who are like saving up forever to get the one RAF piece that like for whatever reason they're emotionally attached to, that like they know has all this kind of emotional value and even just inherent value in being able to kind of like maybe sell it later to then purchase something else. So I can't say for sure if it's one or the other because both these things will always exist. But I mean, I think it's a case by case thing, right?
Well, I think it's like new that Grailed has made all this archive stuff available to people. You
Yeah,
know? And
for
the
sure.
prices are better too than retail stuff, right? If you want to buy Saint Laurent stuff, like it's really hard to buy it at retail, but it's easy to buy it on Grailed. Well, I mean, relatively.
Yeah.
Especially even the archive stuff, you know? So you can buy a shirt from like 2 seasons ago that's like archive technically, right? But it's like...
But it's also just the fact that people have so much more access to this imagery
Yeah.
and these shows and these like
Yeah.
past seasons of things and like these editorial campaigns from like
Well, it's
back
like
in the
music,
day, right?
You're not just listening to music that comes out this
Right.
year. That would be crazy. You're listening to
Right.
music that's...
I'm
from the
listening to
past-
music that came out this year. I don't know about you, but
Well, you're crazy.
All you listen to.
Sorry, I don't only listen to the Grateful Dead or whatever the fuck we're listening to. No, I mean, I think it's access, it's the democratization of of all of the source material and all that stuff. So I mean, this isn't like mind blowing shit that we're coming up with, right? This is stuff that people have been talking about. I mean, since like the social media age has really been a thing. But like personally, I think it's great. Like I think it's sick that anyone could go on Grailed and buy some old RAF. Whereas if it was 3 years ago, you would have to have some type of plug or stumble upon it randomly or, really kind of track it down. And there's always going to be like that kind of curmudgeon either in actual age or like that's just like how they act. That's going to be like, well, it's like the old head mentality, right? Like that's bullshit. It should be hard to get. You should have to like fucking dig. But like I don't personally believe that way. Right. You see that with sneakerheads too. Like
Fashion is for the people.
yeah, dude, there you go. Fire for all. That's Grailed, right? Like I'm that's one thing that I'm at least me personally, I'm willing to plant my flag kind of in the ground and be like, I'm happy that anybody can get the stuff as opposed to like just the select few. Like that shit to me is fucked up.
There was like that op-ed written about how like we're ruining fashion because we make it accessible to like more people.
I mean,
And I'm just
what
like,
kind of fucking mentality is that? We're not
Seriously.
do not plug that person.
I won't even say who
yeah,
wrote
but
it.
it's like, but to me, it's like, I mean, listen, if you want to go public with that kind of attitude, like that's your prerogative. But like, I mean, how do you Like, you have any self-awareness at all? Like, do you hear yourself
So
like that?
elitist.
Yeah,
right?
super
It's
elitist.
crazy.
And to me-
Classist.
Yeah, and it's
all the isms.
Yeah,
rolled in.
exactly. And to me, that's like ridiculous. So like the fact that guy hates us because we're breaking down that kind of whatever fucking ivory tower that he happens to reside in. Good, man. Fucking
I'm sorry you feel
firebomb
less
that shit.
special.
Yeah.
So speaking on, to go back to more of a business thing, like one of the things that I think fashion consumers on other sites, like for example, like eBay had a problem with was like fakes, knockoffs, counterfeits and stuff. Grailed has like a really high, like you have no threshold for bullshit. You have no, like you guys don't really have much of a
Zero tolerance policy.
Zero tolerance on people that flake on shit, people that put up fake stuff. And at the same time, you have, like you said, rare archival pieces. Like there was that dude who had like one of Eddie Slimaine's personal leather jackets.
Yeah, that was crazy.
We literally just had to do, we had someone who interviewed him, and he was saying like, yeah, man, once the HYPEBEAST post about that went up, like they reached out to me and they were like, yo, pull that down. But to go back to the original point, like what is the, like, how do you do that quality control? How do you legit check thousands of things a day?
I mean, I don't want to give away too much of like the
sauce.
process.
Yeah, honestly, it's like an arms race, you know, with
Yeah.
like these people, you know,
Yeah,
like once they know like what we do, like
well,
they like come
honestly,
at it.
we know and we believe that, you know, trust is probably of the utmost importance
Trust
in
and
a
safety.
marketplace like ours, right? And not to say that we're perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but like we identified early on that this could be a problem, and this, you know, was a growing problem, you know, the potential for this. And now we have a team of moderators. We've got, you know, freelance guys. We've got guys in-house who, you know,
We have a huge part-time team that just like
who looks
sits
at this stuff on a
yeah.
daily basis. They're basically combing through this, and we have some
Always
automation,
adding new
obviously,
people.
but
Yeah,
it's
and these
a
aren't
bit
just
of a
kids off the
manual
street.
process,
These
right?
are like experts in their
Yeah.
particular field, if that's what you want to call it. And like there is a process that we have implemented, and we have best practices, and that's
Right.
how we're able to do
But
that.
at the end of the day, it's something we're continually trying to work on and
Yeah.
get better at, because we know we need to, like, you know, stay ahead of this as much as possible.
all aspects of it.
And
Yeah.
it's something
Fake
that we're really
items,
committed to, and
fraudulent
something that
users.
is, you know,
Yeah.
matters a lot.
Trust and safety is like 1A of like the list of the most important things.
I mean,
to
our
us.
commitment, if you buy something on Grailed, you're gonna get it and it's gonna be real.
Yeah, we want to try and adhere to that as much as possible.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And another thing, I read a tweet about this, so I don't know if it's 100% legit, but just to give you some emphasis
Tweets are
on,
fake news.
they're all fake news, everything about them. But I read one that was apparently if you're like PMing somebody on eBay and you use the word Grailed, your sale gets shut
Yeah,
down.
that was the rumor. And like
Scared.
that just means like someone's paying attention potentially. Again, that's what I heard as well. But
Who knows?
Which is amazing. But again, like that's us. Like we try to prevent our offsite transactions on Grailed. So like that's eBay doing what a company's supposed
Yeah, honestly,
to
you
do.
can't fault them for that.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's like that's kind of hilarious and also awesome in that like someone at some level in the hierarchy at eBay then is paying attention, which is
it's a
great.
different- it's a different
'Cause
kind of cloud
all I
token.
want to do is eat those motherfuckers lunch all day, dude. I'm hungry.
Hey man, they haven't seen any competition for like 20 years.
Yeah, right? For real.
Yeah.
Again, it's like you found that lane, right? That's credit to you, Arun.
Shake
100%.
things up.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, I mean, like, you know, in the origin story that we went on earlier, like, you know, you and Jake both met like on a discussion board, right? And then also
Tumblr, to be like specific, right?
Tumblr, right? And then
Yeah.
Arun, like, you used to shop on a discussion board as well.
Yeah, on style.
All right, cool.
forum
So,
and
like, I mean,
et cetera.
just recently we shut down our discussion board to the HYPEBEAST, and like a lot of people were
RIP.
like the forums and stuff. So, I just wanted to talk about like, you know, get your guys' thoughts on the importance of like having that community online and like how that basically fostered, like, you know, just where you guys are right now. That there is a community for people that are like trying to discover more, they're trying to learn more.
I mean, I think it's huge. I mean,
for men's fashion, it's huge,
Yeah,
right? Because like
it's-
people, well, now you
they're
know all
hungry
your
for it.
friends.
Look at
there,
MFA though,
right?
but that's where while everyone has kind of been left in the dust and like you guys closed on your forum, like what MFA has only just exploded, right?
For
Like
sure.
and obviously Reddit and like the ease with which they kind of took the message board format and like made it super accessible and not like this niche like weird thing where the
it's just
stick. Well,
easier
it's
to view.
actually I still think Reddit is like super fucking weird, but like a lot of the I feel like the stigma that the forums had, specifically maybe like men's fashion forums, and Nike Talk and shit like that, like. I think there's still this hunger and like
Nike Talk is massive.
yeah, I mean I think
Well, it's like it's the same reason why there's no women's fashion forums, really, right? It's because women talk about it in real life.
yeah
and
exactly
men don't have
right.
anybody to
Yeah,
talk about it
if
in
you
real
go to
life.
high school in Cleveland, Ohio, and all your homies are like the people you grew up and you're friends with, like if you guys have
wear Raph.
yeah, man, maybe they're talking about rap and shit now. Who knows? But like,
You know, but definitely like 4 or 5 years ago, there was
Yeah.
nothing. Nobody
Or-
talked about
or
anything.
even, like, let's
nobody
be
knew
real.
who Eddie Slimane was 4 years ago.
and even as men's fashion like continues to like increase in its profile, like it's still like kind of especially designer fashion, like fashion with a capital F, it's still like a niche thing. So I think like guys were seeking, and that's where the menswear blogosphere kind of came from. That's what it grew out of. It's just the need to kind of want to communicate with other people that are into that specific interest. Because like guys talk about watches and they talk about cars, but like clothes for a long time obviously has like had or even still does to an extent have a stigma attached to it. So we've talked about the forum shit all the time. I mean, Grailed is big on Reddit. Like we have a presence there. There's a lot of people that discuss Grailed and like, you know, potential cops and then even like customer service stuff. So like there is this hunger for it, and like, you know, we've kind of batted around the idea of like maybe there is a space for a forum on Grailed. Like who knows, right? We're just, again, it's like if the community is hungry for something and they want something, they let us know and we do our best to service them, because without them, you know, we have nothing.
I think just like having the communication between people, you know, and in our case it would be users, is super important to kind of foster the environment we want to foster as well. Yeah. And I think that, you know, we can try and enhance that as much as possible moving forward. We have the comment sections in the articles. We've got, like, you know, obviously the messaging.
More robust user profiles coming, things like that.
Right, and that's all in the pipeline. But I also think there's other ways we can, you know, kind of extract things from the forums that were some of the best types of threads and best types of kind of like, you know, formats for discussion, whether it's imagery or, you know.
Yeah, like a what are you wearing today thread that could exist in Grailed, and then it's people sharing inspiration and engaging in like friendly banter in
and
a
that's
perfect
how I
world
used to love using the forums. Yeah. So, you know, we'd love to try and bring that to Grailed as much as possible.
Banter with the lads.
Yeah, cool. So let's talk about, like, you know, just like trying to give more solutions to your community, like, because you guys are opening up heroin, right? So like, was that because you guys saw like there was that need to tap into the, you know, the female market?
It's too bad we don't have Kristen here to talk about it.
Yeah, we don't have Kristen here, our brand director, but I think, you know, it was, on one hand, it was kind of the natural extension of Grailed. We had a lot of feedback from women who use Grailed, from our friends and family who knew about Grailed, who thought it would be a great kind of thing to have for women. And I think that, you know, even though it's a kind of a more crowded space, I think the same things that have kind of made Grailed what it is today can be applied to the women's marketplace and, you know, kind of separate it from other competitors out there or other people in the space. And I think that, you know, not that we're trying to really take anyone down or compete with anyone, but I think that we can kind of...
I think we're definitely not trying to compete with anybody.
Yeah, I think we're actively trying to create make a thing
its own environment. Right.
We're not trying to like go...
I mean, after the 100th person who's like, or 100th female user who's like, man, I wish there was a Grailed for women's wear, you know, like we can't ignore that.
Right. Yeah. And especially for the enthusiast community, you know, the people in the industry and the people who are kind of use fashion as an aspirational thing, we want to provide them a platform where they can kind of have the same experience that
and like, where can you buy and resell like Andy Mielemeester for women on the internet?
I mean, there's no centralized place for it that I know of. So, and
there's especially for the more niche avant-garde stuff.
And there's also no community of these for these enthusiasts really around these other marketplaces. So I think that's something that we want to bring to the table for sure.
Yeah, and I think that you guys have kind of helped mainstream, like you were saying, the avant-garde and like these more fringe guys like CPP and Comb. So I think what was sort of... Did you guys sort of select a certain brand or a selection of brands that you wanted to feature, like on weekly stuff, or did it just kind of come from?
I think I mean, maybe Jake.
A lot of stuff we like.
You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's one of the things where it's like, again, it's informed by the community. It's almost like we're seeing it in real time. Like people are, the users are making it very clear, like what they're into, and if it happens to be like avant-garde, that's one thing. If it happens to be streetwear, it's another thing. It's just like, again, like we have our own. We keep saying like we have a taste of point of view, and we do. And like obviously, like we ultimately will pull the trigger on. Do we want to try to work with this designer? Do we want to profile this person? Do we want to write a masterclass 3,000 word explainer on this particular item? Or like we just did recently.
I think the first DC article was 11 by BBS, right? Yeah. That was the first.
It's also
DC
about
the
people we know in the business as well.
Yeah,
and then also our amazing like freelance writers.
Yeah,
they're also enthusiasts, and they want to write about
new stuff too.
Certain things that we also are into. So it's kind of like this, I don't know, self-perpetuating environment.
Yeah, it's kind of like a feedback loop, but in like the best possible way.
It's kind of like this thing, but
feedback
the perfect version.
Yeah, right, exactly.
A utopia.
Utopian perfectness.
Yes.
Squad.
And to go back to that whole chicken and the egg thing, like you said, you have people coming in here. You don't know if you guys are growing with a trend or the trend is growing with you. I think that there is sort of like you were saying, like a feedback loop where it's like when you have guys like Luka Sabbat and Carti that come in here and borrow stuff from music videos and stuff, that you are feeding that vintage trend, right? Like you are.
I mean that's marketing. I mean, like we're all adults. We know it's marketing, but it's like, again, it's organic marketing. Like it's not like pay for play. It's not like it's not one of these things. We're not like Reebok or someone who's like, damn, we're not like hot right now, so we need to get a pair of kicks.
We're just the platform for it. We're
I
just
mean,
the platform
you want
for it,
RAF, right? You want like a bunch of RAF for a music video. Where are you going to get it from?
Yeah, there's also like limited options. That's the other thing too. But
it's only tier. You gotta see it's right there.
Yeah, it's literally right next door.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, again,
So it's just natural, honestly.
Yeah. Try to keep it real.
And again, it's real, recognize real, right? Like Luka likes this stuff, whoever like these others, whoever it is that we're hanging out with, we're talking about. We're not talking about like random shit. We're talking about the shit that we like. And we're talking about the shit that they like.
Yeah, for the personal shopping, the sourcing, it's like if of course you could come with like a laundry list of specific things and we could be like errand boys, but it's more of like, yo, I'm really feeling junior right now. It's like, all right, we'll get you the best junior shit because we know what the best junior shit is
and
in
where
our
to find
opinion. And we can acquire it for you. So it's like that. So it's like, again, it's like this organic thing that comes from a true place of enthusiasm. And it might sound corny because like, maybe there's kids that are listening to this that don't think that think all these celebs have stylists and have no point of view, but like, a lot of these guys really do care, and again, we're only going to work with people that care to the same level that we do.
And I think that to also to a point, like we're the platform for this, right? But at the end of the day, it's really thanks to the fact that we've got this amazing user base who has kind of have these collections, and they've kind of found Grailed, and I think that they're the ones who supply this stuff in essence to these people, and giving us a chance to have this selection for these people available.
Exactly.
Is
exactly. That's the thing. It's like without the users, we don't then have anyone to source from. And if we didn't have a website that was like bubbling because of this influx of users, then any of that VIP business, they wouldn't have even come to us, right? Because they wouldn't even.
But in terms of chicken and the egg, it's like it is kind of like that, right? Like they wouldn't have a platform, but they're utilizing it to kind of like further this thing. So it kind of goes both ways.
Yeah. Just the main point for me is that like we're only going to work. Again, we try to like. We will never be beholden to anyone. So again, like if we're gonna work with someone, it's gonna be a natural fit, and if it's not a natural fit, then we're not gonna do something. Like to me, it's very, and I can only speak for myself, but to me, it's like very binary in that way. It's like a black-white thing. It's like, does the vision of Grailed and this person line up? Yes, let's try to do something together. No, then we won't. It's that simple.
I mean, we had the Abbasi Rossborough guys in there today, and it was like a very easy conversation with them to just like, how can we work together? Because we believe in your product, we believe in you guys as designers, you guys are dope, you make
and they believe in Grailed,
super sick shit, and they came in and they were like, yo, we want to work with you guys because we like the content, we like the platform, the community.
Exactly. Odds are they probably use it.
Right. So that's kind of like
in our community, like that's an up and coming brand.
Other people
like
out there, yo, if you don't use Grailed, use
not
Grailed.
On the level of a Raf or a Rick, obviously, that's kind of like a local New York brand, but like there's pieces on Grailed and their profile's raising, and it's like, you know what? If we can help this brand get a brand that we believe in who's doing like objectively great shit, if we can give them a platform so that 1 million new people can find out about this brand, then let's fucking go. That's what more as enthusiasts could we ever want to do than something like that. And it's not like some type of charity or anything like that. It's just, again, it's just naturally, it's a natural fit, and it's not to use a buzzword, but it is synergist in that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys did that with a couple other brands as well that were on the up and up, like
synergistic, whatever,
Synergy is a great word. So positive.
Synergist, though? Is that a word?
Synergistic is a word.
Synergistic. Excuse me. I didn't go to schools. I don't know how to read good.
Should go to the Derek Zoolander Center.
Yeah, right.
And so I think like one of the main problems, challenges, and like pitfalls that happens with a lot of like startups is that they overexpand or like, they spread themselves too thin, too quick out the gate, right? I think you guys have kind of paced yourselves pretty well. What was the biggest challenge, from day one to where you're at right now? Like what was, like if there was one thing each, maybe, like if there was one.
Well, I think that is a challenge in and of itself, right? As a startup, kind of the stereotypical startup, they want to go super fast. They want to grow. They want to like pour money into marketing, into advertising, into just like getting the thing out there. And I think that, that's kind of alluring in some ways, right? But we deliberately took a different tack because I think it comes back to the authenticity factor and the fact that, people see through that and you kind of lose the ability to control the narrative and control the brand and the voice when you do that kind of thing. So, there's that kind of balance, but at the same time, we erred much more towards the side of doing things deliberately, not rushing and,
the hardest thing for me is as a small company when somebody bigger approaches you like in the hopes of developing a partnership is saying no as the small guy, because like conventional knowledge would be like, yo, ride someone, like not like ride someone else's wave, but like use this bigger company to help you. But again, for us, the Grailed brand and like kind of the tenets behind it are really so important. It's the most important thing, right? Well, one of many important things, and for me, it's hard. It is hard to say no to an opportunity that would clearly like raise the profile, but is it raising the profile in the right way? And it's kind of that distinction that like everyone here, every employee is always thinking about and offering their input on, and that to me is saying no. But again, it's hard, but you know it. You know when it's right to say that.
Yeah.
Or you hope you could be right, because you can't be right all the time unless you're me. I'm always right.
Never been wrong.
Never told a lie, and never been wrong on record. Saying it right now.
What about you, Arun?
It's a tough one, honestly. I think I would have to go with what Jake said. Just, always wanting to do things faster and always wanting to, go quicker and like do more and like give more. We have like a million ideas for like how to change the platform and like, new features to develop and like new partnerships to work on and like all these amazing things that we want to do. And it just takes forever to get this stuff done. I think people on the internet are always like, oh, just build this feature, just like it would be so easy. It's like a few lines of code and like nothing is easy.
Do it, right? It's like,
yeah. So honestly, the hardest thing for us is just like getting more people to work with us, like finding the right talent and like hiring them and just like, growing the team. Cause like we're very, very purposeful about who we hire and the culture that we create here at the company. We're like a very supportive, like egalitarian, like society almost. That was too much.
A utopia.
Yeah. I was trying to not say utopia.
Yeah, right.
And it's just our interview process is really strict, and like we're just like really concerned with everybody working here being like a nice like person, and it's just fine. It's just hard to find good people.
I know, right? Seriously,
I regret it every day.
One more thing though, I think that is kind of been a challenge for us. I think has also been kind of making like dealing with the users, not like from like a flexibility standpoint or whatever, but I think it's just like trying to keep people happy, right? I think it's like always
we care so much about.
It's always disappointing, and like from the time when I was just me and Arun, and I was doing customer service, and it's like trying to make everyone happy is like always a challenge, and
it's something
like,
we strive for constantly.
Something we strive for so hard. So when you don't do that, it's like it's disheartening and it's like
weighs on
disappointing.
you.
And I think
it does weigh on
anybody
you a little
that's
bit.
ever-
Yeah.
There's a responsibility, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Right.
Everything we do is for the users.
Right.
So
We
like
wanna
when
make
people
everyone
are
happy,
upset with
ideally,
us,
we know that's not possible, but it hurts to not be able to do that in some instances. So that's a
And I
challenge
think
for
anybody that's ever bought or sold a piece of clothing on the internet knows that dealing with the people that you're buying.
it can be
it's
a struggle, for sure.
Oh my
For
God,
sure.
it could be a nightmare. So it's like having to like, and when your job is to make sure they're happy, like
Yeah.
you kind of you.
That's challenging on a different level than the kind of the more macro business stuff, for sure.
but it's our responsibility.
Yeah. And something we deal with every day.
It is our cross to bear.
It's a good cross, but
We love it.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Yeah, and so usually we like to ask people if if they were trying to get into something similar, if they were trying to get into fashion startup or just a startup or just fashion, either or if they want to start a blog on the internet, even if you guys have experience in
one
that. Yeah, what would be kind of like your your parting wisdom? What would be your like golden ticket? Your
My
fortune
first
cookie?
thing right off the bat, it's 2017. Don't start a blog. So that's the one. So don't do that. No, my thing is always just know your shit. I mean, like again, if you want to cold email someone or you want to pitch an idea, it's just like it helps to like have some foundational knowledge to like come to the table.
Absolutely.
Come to the table being like, listen, I already again like to I
Be
know my
serious.
shit. Like
Be serious.
Yeah, be serious.
Prove
treat
to
it
people that you know
treat
your
it for
shit,
real,
man.
I
I
mean,
mean-
like honestly, man, like we get
Don't send me an email that's 4 words long and there's no spelling.
Yeah,
It's like,
right. It's like listen, man. Even if it's a startup, even if it's fashion, even if it's like quote unquote like cool, sexy professions, like you got to have some level of like real professionalism. Like it's not a joke to the people that work here. So like when you approach it like a joke, you think you're maybe being buddy, but what you're really doing is then insulting that person.
It just doesn't-
that
it's
worked
not
really
professional.
hard.
It's not
And it's not professional. I mean, I personally get insulted when
Right,
people
right.
approach it like that, but that's just me.
And I think the biggest thing for getting into, whether it's a startup or whether it's fashion is just to, get involved. Like, hustle is like that word thrown around a lot, but like, get involved some way. Grab an internship, reach out to someone, cold email someone. Know your shit for
Even
sure.
if working at retail,
Come
like
with
we're
it.
being on a sales floor somewhere and
Yeah.
like working hourly, but if that's going to help you learn about trends in real time and that's going to help educate you on brands so that you can like help customers, like that's fucking free education, right? They're getting paid then to learn, right? So that you can sell this stuff.
And don't
So
be
that's-
afraid to
yeah.
like reach out and meet people and like get your foot in the door somewhere, even if it's just a conversation, right? And
Right,
that's
but you
not
guys met on the internet,
That's not on the
so-
but that's also not on the internet though, right? I think that there's still a lot of power in like the IRL meetup and like going face to face with someone, even if it's just for a coffee to learn more about something, whether it's a tech firm or a startup or whatever or a fashion company. It's like meet someone try and get your foot in the door in some way, and then like progress from there and find your lane, see what you like. You know, don't be afraid to bounce around and experiment. You know, whether it's within fashion or startups. You know, and don't be afraid to reach out to people for help and like to try and get references and that kind of thing. I think it's important.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah, what he said.
All of the
100.
above.
This is actually something that, I think about a little bit because people ask me all the time, like, oh, hey, you did this, like, how did you do it? Like, what should I do to do it too? Like, I want to do something similar. And honestly, I think like maybe it sounds harsh, but my biggest piece of advice is like, you kind of just got to figure it out. You can't ask people what to do constantly all the time. Like, how do I do this? How do I make a website? How do I, like shoot product? How do I like design clothes? Like you got to, if you want to do it and you want to be the guy who's going to do it, like you got to figure it out yourself and like
gain knowledge, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, and also everything is on the internet.
Informed.
You can literally Google anything. I Googled how to make a website, and then 3 months later, I made a website.
Don't give away the secret sauce.
Foundation of Grailed.
Do your Googles.
Yeah, seriously. It's like you can ask for advice all you want, but like really, like something has to come from within.
Google it.
Yeah, just fucking Google it.
Yeah.
That's a perfect note to end on. Well, thank you so much for giving us some of your time, guys. Thank you for sharing your
Thank
wisdom.
you, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, this is great.
Hey, thank you so
Absolute
much.
pleasure. Where do we get our check? We just picked that up. Net 30? All right, thanks, guys.